surprised that no charge came from it because it did look dangerous. But there you go.
Love Wigan,
well, they just love anyone who didn't actually cause an injury. If the player got injured, it would have been an 8-week ban, wouldn't it, or something?
I'd have been doing.
You know how it goes.
It'd have been 3 months in prison.
It's a little bit farcical.
One question about Wigan. Now that it's been announced that McLaurin is out for the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sam Powell goes in at hooker. Is he doing 80 minutes or was he spelled?
He did this week,
right?
But that was because Sean O'Loughlin had to pull out the game late. He had an infected cut on his knee, so wasn't able to go. What they had been doing is giving O'Loughlin a short spell, either last 10 minutes of a game or 10 minutes in the second half somewhere at hooker.
Right.
Give Powell a breather. Because they've been stacking the bench with forwards. Now, because of the late O'Loughlin withdrawal, Gildart actually came onto the bench.
Okay.
It's rare you see her back on the bench in Super League. It's rarer that you see it from a Sean Wayne coach Wigan side.
It is.
But actually, it contributed to the win by freshening up the attack.
Do you think Sam Powell's going to be able to do that job throughout the season effectively enough, or do you think Wigan will go into the market and try and find someone to come in?
I'm not. My understanding is we're looking at some New South Wales Cup or Queensland Cup young up and like hooker to sign on the loan deal, kind of like what we did with Dobson way back when. There's also been talk about Bob Bezic, but we don't know if Bob Bezic, another one, we don't really know if he's injured or not, but apparently he's injured and unavailable for selection at Lee. There's not really many options out there. That's the problem. Everyone else is suffering from injuries, and there's not many options. What I was expecting to see is young Luke Waterworth or young Josh Ganson get 15-minute, 20-minute spells in a game off the bench, but not against against Wakefield or in a cup game or against Hull KR or what have you. Against the bottom 4 sides, not the top 8 sides necessarily. Next week against Leeds, I think the Lockers spell will happen.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I also don't believe that McLaurin is out for the season. I think he'll be back by the semi-finals.
The Cinderella story. Okay, so what was the tail of the game then, Mark? What separated the two teams in the end with a close scoreline?
Well, the 3 drop goals, really, in the game's closing stages, 2 for Wigan and 1 for Hull. That's what separated the sides, but pretty much everything on the stats points to Hull coming out on the right end of a very close one, rather than Wigan. Although the numbers were very, very, emphasised they were very close. Hull had 3 more carries than Wigan did. They made 74 more metres at 0.3 metres per carry better average gauge. They had 1 more break than Wigan did in a very low amount of breaks game. They had 9 more attacking kits, which suggests more attacking position. 3 more successful offloads, 2 fewer penalties conceded, and a 3% better tackle success rate. This actually was Wigan's biggest, worst tackling game by a bit this week. By about 5% below what they've been averaging. But anyway, the only blemish for Hull FC was 1 more error, actually. So you'd have thought it would have been 1 point or maybe a penalty goal or something in Hull FC's favour, but it didn't. It's that champion mentality, I suppose. Players who are in a traditionally more winning environment, they get to finals, they win finals or what have you, compared to Hull FC who are coming up, just like the Salford sort of story, a team that's getting put together, that's coming up together, that's performing really well but hasn't got it yet. John Bateman was a star, a try, 40 tackles, 9 tackle balls, 103 metres. Anthony Gelling was singled out for praise by head coach Sean Wayne, 103 metres, 3 successful offloads. Lee Mossop with 109 metres, but he was derided quite widely by Wigan fans. He made 2 errors in the game and they stood out for the fans more than the efforts he made. Sam Powell with 45 tackles as well, he played the full 80. He does tend to have a good tackle success rate. Is often the second man in, controls the ball, that sort of thing. For Hull FC, Steve Michaels scored 2 tries, asterisk. Gareth Ellis with 129 metres. He started a game for the first time this season. Scott Taylor with 123 metres against his former club. And Danny Houghton with 2 try assists, 45 tackles, and only 1 missed tackle in that, so a good effort.
Almost flawless from Danny Houghton then.
Yeah.
Okay, that Rivet said it was a good win for Wigan. 1 week we could just do it the easy way. Grinding out results like that is what champions do, though. Andy Barden, the Electric Gigolo, said Wigan win ugly again, a sign of a good side. Mark Willow So playing poorly in the last quarter of games but getting the points. Some big players missing too, but a win's a win. Michelle, that's all we've got, so she's called Michelle. She got in touch. So game ruined by substandard refereeing, inconsistencies spoil the game. I would go so far as to suggest that she's a Hull fan. Rich Langley said that,
which is weird because Hull actually conceded fewer penalties than Wigan did.
These are maybe the inconsistencies to which she's referring. Rich Langley got in touch. His lack of composure cost Hull what could have been a great win. Wigan's early game composure and late Hull mistakes were the standouts from this match. And our favourite Twitter handle of them all, Scoots28 Matt, got in touch. Sarah Mackenzie said that it was dumb rugby, no defence out wide, poor decision making, complete stupidity in the last minute.
Yeah, I've seen the What's offload and it's absolutely bonkers.
Right, I'll look out for that.
Bonkers.
Okay, it was the Brett Ferries derby over at Headingley on Friday evening, and Leeds came out on top, 20 points to 16 winners mark.
Yeah, I must admit my attention for this game was a little bit drawn by the radio commentary of the Wigan game, but I don't think I missed much by only half being tuned into this game because there was a lot of mistakes.
I have to admit, I watched this with a cracking hangover on Saturday morning. Didn't know the score, but kind of sort of, when you watch the thing, you're sort of just drifting in and out of bits and pieces. So it was all kind of a bit surreal.
That's the good thing with the Google form, rather than getting as many tweets in as we used to. You don't quite get as many indications of a game on our Twitter feed, which is good for when we've not seen the games. Nearly 15,000 were there to see this game, though. It was best attended game of the round, unsurprisingly, at Leeds. They do put out good crowds.
And this
even though Huddersfield sent a coach.
They didn't look to be moaning behind the sticks, did they?
And most of them were Leeds fans. If you watch it was decided by the finest of margins. The tickle of a rhino ball. Rugby ball.
Yes.
Jimmy the Kind Horse.
Yes. I like Jimmy Kind Horse. He's better. He's not well utilised in the second row like he did when he played against Catalan, but he's definitely he's a good player off the bench for them, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he had to go into the centre because Joel Moon took a knock. Ash Hanley took a knock. The injury situation seems to be getting worse. I think one of the forwards took a knock too, didn't they? But should be okay. Was it? I thought Galloway or I don't know, one of them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they're all getting hurt.
Yeah, they're a Leeds player, so they're bound to be injured.
Yes.
But the takeaway I got is in the first half, Huddersfield actually played very expansive.
Yeah.
And it didn't always work out for them.
No.
And they didn't always make meters off the back of it, but they certainly threw the ball around a fair amount,
didn't they?
And they were willing to try and take chances. And whereas Leeds played a much more subdued game than you normally expect from the Rhinos, the stats bear that out. I'll get to that later on, but I think in the end that actually gave them the ability to close the game out by going direct at a weakened, softened, tired by that point of the game Huddersfield outfit, and the Sutcliffe try was pretty direct, one line run stuff that should have been defended. The Kind Horse try was basically out enthused in your opposition. I questioned Leeds' decision to put Lilly in at dummy half for quite so much of this game because I thought he was the main instigator of any sort of attacking flow they had when he was in the half-backs. But let's face it, Leeds didn't have much attacking flow in this game, did they? First half, it was one-out stuff and trying to hope that they'll maybe take the dummy because no one threw any passes out wide.
And Lilly is
throwing any passes to Ryan either, though, to be fair. He had a shocker. Did you see his tweet after the game?
No, I didn't see that.
It was like, and delete.
Good lad. I do like Ryan Hall. And but no, John Lilly's looking better every week, really. And it's pronounced in that Leeds side at the moment because there's not a lot of them that are doing that at the moment. So, no, good for him. And he's a young English halfback. So, long may it continue.
Definitely.
Let's see, this is
a young English halfback combo winning a game. I mean, Leeds have always had English combinations since Doonerman was probably the last Aussie halfback, was he?
Can't remember any others. It's been Sinfield.
What's his name? Wasn't it? Ben Harris as well, was there?
He was in around that time, but he wasn't.
Yeah. But we're talking nearly.
You're talking Andy Dillon, more than probably, yeah.
But yeah, so it's good to see a young British halfback coming out. What other takeaways did you have from the game then? Anything stood out in particular other than the just Danny Brough?
I love Danny Brough. Danny Brough, for me,
I don't love him.
He's like a grumpy relative. Oh, bless him. He's just so gruff and grumpy, and he's never happy, is he? And you know that with Danny Brough. And, I rate him. I started to feel for him when they announced that the captaincy was staying with Ryan Hinchcliffe. But then actually, I think it does, as they alluded to in commentary, it does free him up to kind of play his game a little bit more. Ryan Hinchcliffe's a vastly experienced player.
It didn't subdue him on the pitch, did it?
No, of course it doesn't. And, he does everything with this kind of look of rage on his face, and, he says you can't go in half cock with these things, can you? He's
no.
Yeah, I really like Danny Brough.
Well, on the stats, 3 tries apiece, and it's basically come down to goal kicking in the end. 4 out of 4 for Jordan Lilly, 2 out of 3 for Jamie Foster.
Not often Foster gets outgunned either.
It's a reverse scenario as well of the Leeds against Catalan game last week, where it was the kicking that swung it in that one, and it has done again, but this time in Leeds' favour, and Jordan Lilly showing Sinfield-like precision from the touchline at Headingley. Purely on the numbers though, you'd expect a Leeds win. You would. There was 268 metres more. Huddersfield were under 1,000 metres. Very close to a metre per carry more from Leeds. There were 5 in 4 in clean breaks, so one extra there. 2 fewer errors, 5 fewer penalties conceded, and 1% better team took tackle success. So the big ones there are the average gain and the penalties.
Yeah.
One surprising number is offloads. The Giants had 6 more successful offloads than Leeds, only 4 times in 2015 and only 2 times in wins in 2015, with the Rhinos the lower offloaders than their opponents. They actually averaged 7.5 successful offloads per game, more than their opposition during the entirety of last season.
Right.
And like it's shown, the games where they didn't, they were just as likely to lose as they were win.
Yeah.
Here they clearly reined their game in because of the adversity they've been faced and the position they found themselves in the league. Yeah. And Cuthbertson only threw 2 in the whole game.
Well, that's all right. That's a reasonable number.
Well, yeah.
You don't need to be looking to do it. The problem is, he almost started the season looking to do it every play. And like every time, you see him, the way he runs, he does turn his body into contact to look for the offload. But it was always just happening. It was always coming out, and it was getting buried in the stats a little bit, wasn't it? Because it doesn't necessarily show you that he's failed in making them happen. And I just wonder if reining it in a touch, because I'm sure you're going to talk about the number of metres he makes running with the ball in a minute, and just by reining it in and being a bit more sensible, maybe that strengthens Leeds a little bit and allows them to get this monkey off the back in the fact that they've started the season so poorly and get this win, and that's important, and now build on it and
it's basically that they've done what we've said we were expecting them to do. For the young halfback, set a better platform by greater physicality rather than
You've got some size in that pack. Before people like Galloway or whoever get injured, you've got Galloway single, and Cuthbertson's a big unit. There's
Garbutt's. He's not the tallest, but he's certainly the broadest.
He's one at broad. Yeah, exactly. Chat shit, get banged. There's some grunt there. So set a platform for these 2 young lads, and it should see them right.
In the end, over a week in Huddersfield ties as well. I mean, this is a platform being set, but it's something for them to work on. They have to. It's a slow process to get them off the bottom of the table, really.
Of course, yeah.
Zach Hardacre, with a try assist and 156 metres, had one of his better games so far this year. Adam Cuthbertson with 194 metres, Brad Singleton with 143 metres, Brett Delaney 42 tackles. For Huddersfield, Jermaine McGilvery had a try, 5 tackles, 157 metres. Leroy Cudjoe, I don't believe this stat to be true, made 44 tackles, 13 of which were marker tackles. That can't be possible. That can't be possible, can it? But that's what the numbers said.
Do you think he came in looking for work then, just try and shore up Leeds? Because
I'm not sure.
Is he on Ryan Hall's side of the pitch?
He was on that side of the pitch, yeah. I can't explain.
He's come in with Ryan Hall, because Ryan Hall comes in field, doesn't he? Maybe he's coming to help with that.
Possibly. Ryan Hinchcliffe, 45 tackles, captain's knock, and Akuma Tai with 53 tackles, 10 marker tackles, 100 metres.
That's phenomenal. I like Akuma Tai.
Big performance.
Mike Lawrence playing in the centres as well.
Yeah, that's a
for Huddersfield. That's a trip down memory lane for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
15 tackles only. He wouldn't know what he's doing with himself.
I'd have been fuming. Why would you play me at centre? This is not utilising my skill set. Especially on the inside of Jamie Foster as well. Foster must have looked at that and thought, well, there's not much on for me today, is there? I get my points kicking. Okay, Coleraine got in touch. He said it was a scrappy win, but it's what Leeds needed to get their season up and running. More injuries for both sides. It's going to be